Human Rights Radio.
Redefining broadcasting.
Hello and welcome to the news at 7 on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM Abuja. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure. The headlines these are: President Muhammadu Buhari calls for sustained security operations across the West African region. Health workers in Nigeria suspend 6 weeks strike. On the foreign scene, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy forced out of office. And in sports, Super Eagles coach says the team will score many goals at the World Cup. Details in a moment. Please do stay with us. And now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari has called for intensified and sustained security operations across the West African sub-region to tackle the rising threats posed by insurgents and bandits. The president made the call when he received the letter of credence of the ambassador of the Republic of Mali to Nigeria, Mustafa Traore, in Abuja. He noted that only a collective fight will halt the threat to lives and property. Buhari stated that the sub-region would continue struggling with the basics of development so long as people live in fear and uncertainty. He said in tackling the problems of terrorism and banditry, cross-border influences should not be underestimated. In his remarks, the ambassador of Mali said he would work hard to strengthen bilateral relations in areas of intelligence sharing between the two countries. 5 soldiers have lost their lives in an ambush by Boko Haram at Bridan Bita in Goza local government area of Borno State. Army spokesman Texas Chukwu, who confirmed the tragic incident, said the insurgents engaged troops of 271 Task Force Battalion deployed in Operation Lafia Dole in a gun battle. In the firefight that ensued, Chukwu said the troops neutralized several Boko Haram terrorists while others fled with gunshot wounds. The remains of the deceased personnel, according to the army spokesman, have been evacuated to the 7th Division Medical Services and Hospital. And still on security issues, 3 years into President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, some Nigerians have said the inability of government to tackle the persistent killings in the country is a cause for concern. With less than a year to the end of the tenure of the current administration, the said government must double its efforts to reduce the spate of insecurity in the country.
The security operatives in the country, they are biased. They are not doing their work as they should. And the president as well is not helping matters, and I'm sure he's aware of the whole situation because they are not proactive. If they actually are, by now, all the tactics they have deployed, they should have curbed the security situation in the country. So to me, there is nothing much to do than to be proactive, the government to step up their game, bring these people to justice, go after them until they push politics aside and be serious with the security issues in this country. Killings, insecurity will not stop.
3 years. Election is less 9 months that they'll make anything concerning security. Baba has nothing to give us. He might have a good mind for us, but those so-called cabals, they don't want to do anything good for Nigeria.
Is it that our military force, they are not empowered? Is it that the police cannot sidetrack the people involved? The administration need to work on the security. They are trying in the areas of corruption. They need to reinforce on the security. They can't just tell us that they can't find solution to the security issue. We are not more than China. We are not up to India, and we know how they handle their security matter. They just put politics aside and let's face the reality and let's tackle the issue of killings in this country.
Nigerians have expressed concerns that the federal government is not doing enough to tackle the huge deficit in the country's education sector. Those who spoke with Human Rights Radio in Abuja said this is manifest in the 7.04% of the 2018 budget to education. This is lower than the 26% of national budget recommended by the United Nations. The global organization recommended the budgetary benchmark to enable nations adequately cater for rising education needs in the various countries.
If he's a president that puts education as one of his priorities, he couldn't have abandoned some lofty project that was started by the last administration. Because from the UNICEF recent report, you hear that there is 14 million Nigerians that are out of school. And if you check the statistics, many of them are from the northern part of this country. And this was what made the past administration to establish the Alamajeri system to make sure they can reduce the number of illiterate people in the country. They are deriving joy in seeing ordinary Nigerians walking on the street begging. And the thing is causing the insecurity in the country too. Because if education should be prioritized, these things will stop. People will add value to life, because somebody who doesn't go to school, who have not spent any money for education, will not know the value of life.
Look at an institution like Nigerian Police Force. They don't have a database because they didn't give priorities to education. We have enough graduates that can handle all those systems, but are they giving appointments? Because of politics, we want our people to be there. We are not putting the right people in the right places, and it's affecting our education. They should just do something on that education. The National Assembly, they should know the importance of education. Nobody should tell them. Even the Mr. President should know the importance of education. I don't know when we are going to meet up with the Western world. We are clamoring 2020. We are in 2020. We don't know what they want to give, or maybe they want to give us 2027 or 2030 again. It is a worrisome issue in the country. They need to invest much on our education system, and I think with that we can get a better Nigeria.
They should make things happen in education, because being a president, he might attend any small school. So you cannot come from the farm and become a president. The stack military cannot be a leader. After security, the next thing is supposed to be education.
Government in power should do more in attaching importance to our educational system. Budget more money for the educational system, so we can rebrand and also reform the educational system as it stands now is decaying. Make sure that more money is budgeted in the educational system, so that we can have a Nigeria of our dream, because without education, no country can make progress.
The 2018 budget allocation to education is lower than the 7.4% the government gave the sector in the 2017 budget. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has condemned the federal government over the shifting of September 2018 deadline for the implementation of a new national minimum wage. Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, had earlier in February said that the new wage would be announced by September this year. He, however, recently asked the workers to look beyond September 2018 for the implementation of the new wage. Reacting, Ayuba Waba, NLC president in Abuja on Friday, said Nigerian workers were shocked by that statement credited to the minister. The federal government had in 2015 set up a tripartite committee including representatives of NLC and those of government to review the minimum wage upward. Nigerian workers are among the least paid in the world, earning 18,000 naira as their minimum wage, which is expected to be reviewed every 5 years, but was reviewed last 8 years ago. Health workers under the auspices of the Joint Health Sector Unions, JHESU, have suspended the 6-week-old industrial action. A communique issued at the end of the National Executive Council meeting in Abuja said the strike was embarked upon in April following the failure of the federal government to honor the agreement reached with the unions. National Chairman of JHESU, Bio Bele Moye Josiah, had accused the government negotiation team of lacking seriousness, which led to the breakdown of further negotiations and the prolonged industrial dispute. City residents have been cautioned not to rent houses that do not have toilet facilities. The call becomes necessary due to the outbreak of cholera in some parts of the country. Cholera is common during the rainy season, especially where open defecation is prevalent.
As human, when you wake up in the morning and you know you'll be going out, you have to do whatever you want to do at home before going out. But when you go out and you're impressed and you decide to do it outside, it's not really a good idea, because people will be passing by. When they pass by, they inhale that into their system. It's not really good for their system. People should try and stop it. Don't go outside and be defecating outside. Do it at home. And I think we should also have public toilets where even if you are are pressed, you can do that. But you come to Abuja, you don't find things like that. I will advise the people in authority, they should try and do it.
It creates an eyesore. And equally, when we talk about our community and the effects on our environment, as in the list is endless, it could cause harm. Because when they do it in, let's use for instance, the gutters, when it rains, we don't know where it will flow to. So it may get into a reservoir, it may get into any drinking water line, and it would cause harm to the body. So whoever is involved in this, or whoever is doing it, that they should desist from it. Stop defecating openly. If you are going out and you feel you are going to be staying out long, try and do whatever you have to do from your house before you go out.
Generally, shitting in the public places is dangerous, it's bad to our health. How do you see yourself going to open place? And especially where people are living very close, you just go and bend down and shit is very bad. By the time rain falls, you can imagine how the water will splash to people's environment, in fact, homes. Health-wise, I think it is wrong. I condemn this in totality. People should respect what they have and where to do it. Landlords will also ensure that they provide spaces for people to go and do these rubbish things, because it's not good for our health at all.
The federal government recently announced that it has proposed 30 billion naira to tackle the problem of open defecation in the country. Mukhtar Ibrahim of the Abuja Environmental Protection Board spoke to us on the side effects of open defecation.
I commend the federal government for releasing this money to the Ministry of Water Resources to solve this problem of open defecation, which has become a sort of shame even to the country, because it has battered the country's image, because Nigeria is ranked amongst one of those countries where this issue of open defecation is on the rise. This money that has been allocated should be used for what it was allocated for, in terms of provision of toilets, in making sure that every building has a functional toilet, and also providing public toilets in strategic places, even along the highways. After a distance of some kilometers, there should be public convenience where people can ease themselves instead of keeping this habit of just defecating in the open. It will also help to reduce breakout epidemics like even cholera, diarrhea, and what have you. And also, I expect that they will collaborate with all the necessary agencies to ensure that it is utilized properly. Essentially, it also needs a lot of public awareness campaigns. So some of this money should be used to raise people's consciousness of the need to desist from open defecation and embrace civilized behavior of using the toilets.
According to the World Health Organization, the absence of toilets remains one of the leading causes of illness and death amongst children. We'll now take a short break. We'll be right back. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. On the foreign scene, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has been forced out of office by a no-confidence vote in Parliament. Socialist leader Pedro Sanchez, who filed the motion after Rajoy's party was implicated in a corruption scandal, will become Prime Minister. Rajoy is the first Prime Minister in modern Spanish history to be defeated in a no-confidence motion. The leader of the Conservative Popular Party, PPP, has been Prime Minister since 2011. During the second day of debate on Friday, Rajoy admitted facing defeat and told MPs that it has been an honor to leave a better Spain than he met it. And in sports, the Super Eagles international friendly against the Three Lions at the Wembley Stadium, London, is today at 5:15 p.m. The Eagles are seeking Nigeria's first win against England after losing 1-0 in 1995 and playing a 0-0 draw with the Three Lions at the 2002 FIFA World Cup in Korea and Japan.
The friendly matches are necessary to be able to assess our Super Eagles to know whether they are really fit for the World Cup. So I'm excited about that. The one they played with Congo is equally interesting. So that will really keep our players fit in preparation for the World Cup.
The last match, it's not that bad, but we need more goals. And let us leave this issue of, I know this person knows me. Because even in the rural area, we have people who knows how to do these things. Let it not be like if, because you know this person, you put it in. This is standing for the whole nation, going to represent the whole nation. This is not an issue of family affair where you just go there and do what you need to do. So we are expecting more for them, and we pray that we'll make it through.
Due to the young players we have now, I believe they will do well. They will perform excellently. Let me just say they will reach the quarterfinal in the World Cup. Even if they can't carry the World Cup, but they will go far. They will get to the stage of quarterfinal because we have a lot of youth there and they are determined. So without their determination, they can make Nigeria proud.
Nigeria will play Czech Republic on June 8 before the first Group D game at the World Cup against Croatia on June 16. The Eagles will face Iceland on June 22nd before confronting Argentina in St. Petersburg on June 26. And that's the news for this hour. Thank you for listening. My name is Oikike Igado Kure.